Welcome to One Spot Attractions, where we pick one spot at a Disney resort and talk about it.
Come along with us on a thrill ride like Space Mountain.
Or relax with us on a boat ride through Small World.
We will have all your favorites covered.
So bring your faith and trust.
And we will supply the pixie dust.
And we're off to One Spot Attractions. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our One Spot Attractions podcast. We're your hosts. My name is Shelly.
And I'm Christy.
And today we're going to be talking about some goofy gossip. We're going to go to our one spot, which is, it's a personal favorite. I really like this one. I've been kind of waiting for this one. And then we're going to finish up with some trivia. So we're going to pass it over to Christy because she's going to start with our gossip.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm just happy this is our 10th episode.
I
think that is a good thing that, we made it to 10. And thanks for all of you who've been listening, watching, and supporting us and coming along with us on this journey. So thank you.
It's been a lot of fun for us. I enjoy this part of my week quite a bit. And so I think this is mostly for us, but anybody who else enjoys it, that's awesome. But I personally really enjoy this part of my life.
Who doesn't love talking about Disney?
I know. Good endorphins. Well, where are we going for our gossip?
Well, you guys might have heard this. If you haven't, here you go. Mind blown. Soarin Around the World got updated just on 2 scenes. So we have the Paris scene that got updated, which we all know if you've been on this ride, you would go into Paris, but you're up close and personal with the Eiffel Tower. And if you were not sitting in B, because there are 3 separate sitting areas in Soarin', there's A, B, and C. A and C are on the side. And as you know, the screen is kind of like a fishbowl. So if you're sitting in A and C with this Paris scene, the Eiffel Tower, it was just leaning.
Yeah.
A little leaning to one side, not dramatically, right? But I've seen people wearing a shirt going, I've been on Soarin', and with the Eiffel Tower totally leaned over. Well, they fixed the scene for Paris, and I think now, I went on it twice, but both times I was in B, so I can't really speak for A and C. But I've seen other people's posts, and they were sitting in A or C, and they were they fixed the leaning problem. I'm sure you can slightly see a lean because even in the other scenes you can kind of tell, but it's not as dramatic as the last original one. So, and it's really pretty. It's super pretty, and I actually think I like it better because it's not like Eiffel Tower in your face,
This my question is, you kind of really get up close to the Eiffel Tower and Soarin' like you're on a hang glider. This is a attraction where you kind of get the feel like you're flying, but you're in a pretty stationary. It can kind of tilt a little bit, swing. So it's more of a visual experience than it is actually a ride, even though you are on a ride type system. But yeah, it's when it first opened, when Soarin' first opened, and it was Soarin' Around California, which it did start in, it was created for California Adventure. That one was pretty well filmed with helicopter. And so they did actual filming of it. When they switched it for Epcot, which it made sense. It did make sense for Epcot to be Soarin' Around the World instead of around California, because you're at Epcot, right? You got the World Showcase right there. When they did that, they brought in a lot more digital and CGI. And unfortunately, the Eiffel Tower in particular has been picked on pretty badly by Soarin'. Everything kind of got upgraded, but that did not translate well when this attraction first opened.
Yeah, and then the other scene that was updated was the very last scene, which is the Epcot scene. So this Epcot scene is now the Epcot that we know now
I was
The
one.
updated. So you don't see like the older
Yeah, you don't.
Epcot.
The old, my brother really loved this fountain growing up. When you got past Spaceship Earth on your way to World Showcase, there was a very large fountain that would have music, and the
Dancing
fountain right
water.
next to it, like the Bellagio fountain type of a thing. He loved that. That was a job he would have loved to have, would have been choreographing that type of thing. And that was at the end of Soarin' Around the World because, that's what it looked like until its big facelift here in the last 5 years.
Yeah. The last time I seen that was in 2014.
That's a good detail to switch out because I'm going to tell you, I didn't really think about that needing to be swapped, but to be accurate and it shouldn't be difficult. I'm sure it's more difficult than I think it is, but it shouldn't be too difficult to update a video.
Yeah.
You don't need
But
to.
they kept Tinkerbell, so that's a good thing.
Yes.
So,
I
like,
love
I don't want to say too much about Soarin' because eventually we're going to talk about Soarin'.
We are, and I'm going to adore that one because that's a big ride in our family. Except for
Oh, same.
yeah, my husband does not like it. He gets rather motion sick on it, which is weird to
Oh,
me.
I was going to say he's fired, but if he gets motion sick on it, that's
Yeah,
different.
but this is a great attraction. That's definitely something to catch with the new updates on it. The few pictures I were seeing, I can speak. Um, the few pictures I saw were pretty high def. So did you think that they did a little bit of a better job? It was a little less, was it more clear too with it, or did it mesh well with the rest of it?
It was slightly more clear, but I wasn't really focused on that.
Yeah.
I was more focused on, ooh, it's all new, and like I was like kind of studying the scene and being like, is the river still there? Because like in the Paris scene, they had like the boat with the
Mm-hmm.
river, and I was just like, is that still there? It it's still there, but it doesn't like have the boat because you're like a little farther away, but the river is still there. So I was just paying attention to more like, is this stuff still there?
What's different? And yeah,
Right.
and
And
how
honestly, it's not a dramatic change. Like, there's a change, but it's not like in your face dramatic change, especially the Epcot one, because it's just like, you still have the Epcot ball and then like Spaceship Earth, and it's still the same. It's just the surrounding area that really changed. And it's like, and to me, the Epcot at the end is beautiful.
yeah.
It's pretty. And like my sister, I talked to her about this, and she actually prefers the last one because she likes knowing how Epcot was. And yeah, but she doesn't mind the change because let's say you're brand new to Disney. You're going to go on this ride and you're going to be like, I don't remember any of that. you
Well,
know?
the attention to detail, if they're going to take the time to fix the leaning Eiffel Tower instead of the leaning Tower of Pisa, we have the leaning
Yeah.
Eiffel Tower. If they're going to take the time to do that, why not upgrade it so that it's more relevant in 2024? That's the little details that I think makes Disney kind of stand out in the theme park world, is they do take into consideration these little details and they fine tune it. And that's what gives us the quality parks that we enjoy.
Let me tell you something. This is slightly off subject, but let me tell you what Ian, my son, said to me yesterday after seeing it. He liked it. He was very worried at first because he was just like, they didn't touch my Soarin'. Like, he was very scared, but he was just like, he liked it. It was okay because he was just like, okay, they didn't really change my ride. But he was just like, and this is the mind of, an 8-year-old, and this just tells you about their imagination, right? So he goes, they're doing all these Christmas overlays to like the other rides, like the land, and, he's seen the overlays during the Christmas party. So he's like, how come they didn't do one for Soarin'? He's like, like following Santa around the world. And I was just like,
I don't know if that's easy or not. In thought, it sounds like an easy overlay, like Space Mountain, where you just have to switch out the track, right? um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe Ian should be an Imagineer when he grows up. I love that idea.
I know. I was just like you and I were like, that would be so simple. Like, what? Come on, like, you know, put those scenes in, but make it like you're following Santa around the world. Like,
Yeah, Soarin' Around California used to bring you back to Disneyland, and it was Disneyland at Christmas, which I always thought, because we never go around Christmas, and so I was like, I always thought that was a weird choice for it to be Christmas time in Soarin', but yeah, I love the idea of making holidays around the world. They wouldn't even
yeah.
have to, go. I'm not saying we should do this, but we could go to Germany and see Krampus.
I was actually talking about Krampus yesterday. That would be a horrible idea.
maybe switch that. But holidays around the world, like seeing a Chris Kindle Mart, or even Russia with its beautiful snow and everything. There's a lot of opportunity there.
Oh yeah, I think it would be great.
Yeah.
But I was just like, good idea, buddy.
Yeah, I wish there was an idea box you could throw things in, because
Right.
it would be like, just load it with that. Yeah.
But it's like the minds of like children, you got to think about what they like too. And it's just like, wow, that's a great idea, dude.
Yeah. Way to go, Ian.
I know.
That one.
I know. It's like, Bob Iger, hello, we got an idea for here.
That's a great one. I love it. So, yeah, well, going into our one spot, because we're going to kind of keep the magic rolling, is we are going to start, it is our 10th episode. And so we figured 10 episodes a good season length. So we're going to do seasons. And on the 10th episode, we'll tackle one of the night shows. So we're going to start with Happily Ever After, which is the Magic Kingdom fireworks show.
I will make it through this podcast without getting emotional.
I know, right? I'm like, the night shows in particular, I judge the night shows based on how much do they make me cry without my permission. So if it is a natural born reaction that, I'm talking about World in particular, you've got Fantasmic, which is over at Hollywood Studios. And at the end, they bring a big boat around. Never fails, man. Every single time those characters come out on that boat, the tears just go down my face. Luminous actually got me. That's over at Epcot. That one got me with the baby section. The You'll Be in My Heart.
Oh, yep.
There with my daughter for the first time watching it, and I'm just like, well, like.
Oh yeah.
This one is it has many different parts that I think get people emotionally. It's an emotional overload is what it really is. It brings out a lot of nostalgia, but then it also brings out just your childhood wonder. And what is the part for you that gets you, Christy?
It's almost like instant.
Which one?
No, I mean like the whole kit and caboodle. Like this will always have a special place in my heart for me because my son Ian, he's a night show person. But out of all the night shows, this one is probably his most favorite one. So like he will be in my living room and he'll be putting on his own show, recording himself and like playing the music in the background, and he's like making his own fireworks. He's got like the Disney figurines out and he's making his own show. So, but like honestly, this night show, I remember the very first time I saw it, I was like almost ugly crying.
Oh no.
Because I was just like holding it in and I'm like, why? But like it's so powerful too, because you like go through like your movie scenes like Tiana and Toy Story and Nemo, and you got all the stories, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, now we got pirates,
Yeah.
and then now we got more. Oh, Aladdin's fighting Jafar, and you got the heroes fighting the villains. The castle literally burns, and you're like, oh, because the projection mapping on this castle is amazing. By the way, I
Yes,
kudos to
that
whoever
blew my mind.
programs this. Like
Yeah,
that,
that blew my mind.
yeah. So you're seeing this iconic castle that everybody loves to see look like it's actually burning on fire, and that it fell apart from the battles, and then you get Mufasa that comes, and I'm sorry, that's just powerful in itself. Like that movie itself is very powerful. I think it has like one of the most powerful soundtracks out there. And you got Mufasa out there, and then like the heroes are rising from, being defeated, and then it's like your emotions are just woo through
I
this.
think what I like about it is that there is segments. So
Yeah.
you've got like the love segment, you have the villains get their time. You've got kind of like I'm gonna call it the Pixar segment, and I know Moana's in there now, but she wasn't originally, was she? Was she always in there originally?
No, they added her.
I thought she was added later too. Um, with this one, I think that the whoever organized the music for it, they deserve, I don't know if you get a Grammy or what you get for that, that they should qualify. This is an amazing arrangement of Disney music, and they didn't go easy on it. That's what I appreciated, is when they bring out Frozen, for example. It is not Let It Go. They did not go easy. They did Love is an Open Door. They pull out the song from Hunchback of Notre Dame. They do the Brave song, which is my favorite song in that section, the Touch the Sky song.
Yep.
But their crowning jewel of that one really is their original song that they
Mm-hmm.
created for it.
Yes.
It kind of envelopes it. It starts it, and then they bring it around to it at the end. And you've got kind of the narrator talking to you about your story and how you're going to live it. And I think that just brings the child out in everyone. Like, what am I going to be when I grow up?
Right.
What can I do to make a difference and stuff? And I think that message is powerful. I think it's extremely well choreographed as far as how they lead you into those emotions. For me, I melt down every single time Tinkerbell does her flight. When they go, you can
Yep.
fly, you can fly, you can fly, and then it goes into the original song again, and I'm just sitting there sobbing, like absolutely no control over myself at all,
Yep.
ugly sobbing. I am
Oh
not.
yeah.
Nope.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And I mean, this happens to me in my living room. If I need a good endorphin jumper, I need something for me. I will put on Happily Ever After, and I will take 20 minutes of happiness. Sure, any day.
Well, Ian will be like, "Mom, can we listen to Happily Ever After?" I'm like, I don't feel like crying right now.
Such a good cry.
I'm like, I literally cannot listen to that song without crying. So I'm like, dude, I know you, because it's like almost like every other day, Mom, can we listen to that song? And I'm like, I I'm driving. I cannot do this right now.
Yeah. The other part that I've heard a lot of people say they cry is at the very end. They kind of bring it back down. The narrator talks to you, and then they get ready for the finale.
Yeah.
And when they bring the crescendo up for the finale, that will get people. if you have been, this is people, this is how we find out who the Cylons are in the world, who's not crying at happily ever with them. But they, that part gets people too. You look around, the dry eyes, you're like, what are you doing here? I think you're lost. So
Yeah.
we've gotten, this is I was going to say it's my favorite of the night shows. I don't think I can
It's up there. It's definitely up there.
pick from the three at Disney anymore. That's like Disney World. That's like picking a favorite child. I don't think that that's fair. I used to be able to without any problem. When Wishes is around, Fantasmic for the win every single time. But with Fantasmic and Luminous, I think you've got such a nice trifecta of good emotional, deep messages and shows with great quality. I do like them. I know not everybody has been in love with Luminous over at Epcot, but yeah, that one got me. I place that up there. Disneyland, World of Color's fun. You guys deserve a happily ever after for your fireworks show. You really do.
Oh my gosh. And let me tell you, when this show was taken away for a little bit, but they were just like, it's gone. It's gone. Oh my gosh.
There was no, not much notice. They just ripped your favorite toy away from you. This was
for the 50th anniversary. They were like, we're getting rid of this for the 50th anniversary, replacing it with a new one. And I was there for the 50th. I saw the new show and I was just like, this did not make me cry. I was just like, it's good, but I'm like, it's not as powerful. It didn't hit you as Happily Ever After did.
In order to stand in Main Street with, a few 10,000 of your best friends that close, you need to give me more than enchantment. Otherwise, I'm going to go home and I'm going to rest. I'm going to go back to my hotel and I'm going to put my feet up and I'm going to rest. And that's unfortunately what happened with enchantment. We didn't even see it live. We previewed it on when it debuted. There were all sorts of influencers that were streaming it live. And when it ended, I just looked at my husband and I threw the remote down.
I remember texting you that night too.
So angry about it. Just because of the attachment. It's not that it was a bad show, but you don't take Happily Ever After away and place it a C-level show in that A+ level show slot. It's not comparable.
And Disney, I think, had high hopes for that one too, because they were just like saying, we don't know if it's coming back. And we were like, no, there was protesting going on. You bring that back. You cannot take away Happily Ever After. And long and behold, they brought it back. They brought it back. I remember this. They brought it back as a surprise one night, and oh my God, everybody was like, so happy. I remember seeing the videos and I'm like, what? I was just like, they're doing it. And I was just like, does this mean it's coming back? And they're like, oh no, it's only for a couple nights. And I'm like, but I think they were testing the waters to see. And I'm like, you have to bring this show back. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I think that's kind of what Disney fans are not quiet about their preferences. And it was pretty obvious to see that there were more people upset about the loss of Happily Ever After than there were excited about Luminous coming in. And so, yeah, when we got Happily Ever After back.
Did you say Luminous?
Not Luminous, sorry, Enchanted. Enchanted. Luminous is over at Epcot. Wrong park, wrong show. So, but yeah, I Happily Ever After is great from anywhere. Like the projections are amazing. Like they are so strong. My daughter, we like to do the dessert party for this. I'm not huge on lots of people around me, which is weird because I'm a big Disney park fan, and that's hard to figure out. But I have figured it out. And one of the ways is to do the dessert party. So we were doing the plaza one where you sit out on the grass after you have your desserts. So we're sitting there, and you can actually, at that time, you could sit. So we were seated. I had my daughter, who was 3, on my lap. And when the castle caught on fire, she jumped up, she turned around at me, and she was like, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. And she was panicking because she's like, this is not good. We cannot do that. And I'm just like, no, 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 the heroes are coming. Give the heroes a chance. Like, she was so upset at 3 about that. And I just remember the magic of everything being so real to her. And it was so fun. You know, I watched the show, but it was more fun to watch her, that type of thing.
Oh, yeah. This one will always have a place in my heart for sure. I was actually watching a video about facts on Happily Ever After, which I didn't fact check the video, so I don't know if it's true or not, right? But apparently the song that Jordan Fisher and Angie, I forgot her last name, what they sing, the Happily Ever After song, was originally written for Hong Kong Disneyland for their anniversary. Now, I didn't fact check that, so I don't know if that's like 100% true or not, or if that's just a rumor, but I guess originally from this video, which I can't credit the video because I can't look it up right now, but he said that in this video was that it was originally written for Hong Kong, one of Hong Kong Disneyland's anniversaries, but they never went with it and they brought it to World.
Win for us.
Yeah, give it to us. We don't want to give it back.
No,
can't have it now. Nope.
Like, they can update it and make it more crisp or things, or add segments, but don't change it fully out, because this one is so good. It's like Phantasmic. You can switch things out of it, you can update it, but you've got such a perfect firework night show. Don't mess with perfection.
Well, the Moana ad was okay. I love how Grandma Tala like swims up the castle and then the fireworks go off.
Love Moana.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that ad. Like that one worked.
Yeah, my son's favorite character is Moana in general. Like, I don't know if he would say, if I were to say who's your favorite character, he might say like Wally. Deep down, that first cry, if you were to put on Moana at the very beginning, there's like an ancient ancestral cry at the very beginning. That was like a dog whistle to him. As soon as that came on, it didn't matter where Sam was. He was like, whoop, Moana. Boom. He was in there to see it. And so when that was updated by the time we took him to watch that, because the first time he went, he was a little too young to stay up late for fireworks, or he slept through it. I don't even remember. And later, you know, he was really into Moana, and that segment just drew him in with the beats, and you can feel the drum beats. You know, it almost is pulsing through you. It's perfection. Absolute perfection.
And it's just amazing, like, with this show, too, because it's almost like they're using almost a good portion of the park for this show. Because the projections, it's like they're on top of the buildings, like, down Main Street.
Yes.
And then, like, the fireworks, they're in, like, Fantasyland. And... like, the bigger fireworks are, like, way far away, like, by World Drive. And, like, it's just amazing that, like, just for this castle show, it's, like, it takes, like, the whole park.
We had one trip we took a girls' trip. And I say girls' trip, but you have to understand, if we leave my father out on that, it will break his heart. So it was the girls' trip and my dad. And we happened to be on... Tomorrowland Speedway. And we had a night we were going to be going to the dessert party. So we had our Happily Ever After night. So we were like, well, we'll hit the rides while it's running tonight, because we're going to go see it like in 2 nights or whatever. To hear the music while you're driving in the Tomorrowland Speedway and seeing, you know, we couldn't see the projections obviously from there, but still very magical experience. Another magical experience, we've done this several times, being up at the California Grill on top of the Contemporary and going out on the balcony. That, yeah, again, really, can you see the projections? You can kind of make them out a little bit, but the music and the fireworks can stand alone if they want.
Yeah.
Like there's no shortage of amazement just with that. And then you add the projections in and it just takes it up to the next level.
Oh, yes. Can enjoy the show anyway.
What a great one. They've got, just an amazing one. I've got some trivia, and I'm not going to say this is easy, so it might be some talking points. I had some looking up trivia that wasn't like, when did it open? When did it close? What replaced, so I've got some on here, and they'll be, you might be able to pull some of these out. A couple of them you'll know. So they used a real orchestra to tape this. How many pieces were in that orchestra?
How many pieces?
How many instruments? Like how
many instruments? I was just like,
not different.
You're talking about. I'm like, you talking about like the music pieces?
Yeah. How many instruments are represented in that orchestra pit?
Ooh, I would have to say maybe 30.
It is 75.
75.
It is
75 different instruments?
Not different. So like you might have 2 flutes and a piccolo, or you might have 3 saxes.
You're just saying all together.
All together. How many orchestra is it? It's a 75-piece orchestra, which is massive. And so that's pretty cool. Just on its own. Like this is the level of quality we're dealing with. You've already answered this one, so I know you know this one. When projections go on a wall, they're just a projection. But when they go on a 3D item, like the stores down Main Street or the castle, what do they call it?
Projection mapping.
Yeah. And the idea behind that, it is a level up. They have to take into account the edges, the turns, the different facets, things that are on the structure, which sounds super cool. And I'd love to see how they do it. They could do a informational show on that, and I would watch it for sure. So this one, there's been anything from Fantasy in the Sky and Wishes. There's been many different night shows at Magic Kingdom, and they all had something in common with Tinkerbell. And this one changed Tinkerbell's tradition. What was it?
I don't know. She flew in everyone.
She does fly in all of them.
So I don't know what changed.
She flies at the end of this one. All the rest of them, she flies at the beginning. And there was some, when they were putting it together, they were a little concerned about that, as if people were going to be upset. There was some, with Enchantment in particular, they were like, it kind of came across as though Tink was thrown in as oops, we forgot to throw this in, so we'll throw it in at the last minute. Tinkerbell's flight is very, very much planned and ready, and it really brings it together. And so its placement is a little different. I love this one. Who's sponsored Happily Ever After? It has a sponsor, and you're seeing the sponsor quite a bit in the parks now, which is kind of weird because it's going out of vogue a little bit, but it's still strongly sponsored.
Is it a food sponsor?
Not.
No. Is it a car sponsor?
It's not.
No.
It is Pandora, which is a jewelry.
The jewelry. Yeah, I knew. You know what? I should have known that. I should have known that. They even made a Happily Ever After Pandora charm.
Yeah. Yes, and that's the thing. Pandora, if you were to go to the Pandora Stars, they do have a bunch of Disney-inspired charms and whatnot. They've got quite the Disney line. There's a partnership going there, and there was one for Happily Ever After. So kind of neat. And this last one blows my mind. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, check this out. Disney happens to be the #1 buyer of fireworks in the world. They purchase more fireworks than anybody else, any other entity. But they are the second largest buyer of explosives. Who's the first buyer of explosives. Who beats out Disney when it comes to explosives? Not fireworks, but explosives.
Mine workers. People who demo stuff. I don't know.
That might all fall under the same category. It is the Department of Defense.
Oh, well,
So
there you go.
DoD is the number one, which checks out that American Department of Defense would be the largest purchaser of explosives, followed by not another country, Disney.
Yeah, well, it adds up, right? They do fireworks at all 4 parks, and their parks around the world every night.
Every night, 365 days.
So it does not surprise me whatsoever.
I didn't put this fact in there, but weather can impact it, and people can get upset about that. And they said that based on the cost of the show and the number of people that attend, it would only come up to being 96 cents a person goes to the fireworks, because that's how many people are in that park. So, you can complain all you want, but it's less than $1
Oh, there you go.
Well,
there you go.
Laugh. Someone did the math, and I appreciate these people.
I don't have that time. I don't do that.
Kind of fun.
Oh, man.
Best dollar I've ever spent.
Yeah, right. Bring on those happily ever after fireworks. Let's go.
Well, this is going to close out our first season of our One Spot Attractions podcast. We're going to come back after the holidays and pick some more spots and continue on with us. So continue our journey with us, but enjoy your holidays. If you need a big, big endorphin rush, you need to have some happy tears, go watch some Happily Ever After. Check out the Soarin video. I think I'm excited to see that.
Yep.
And we'll be catching up with you guys in a couple months here.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for supporting us, and thanks for sharing the magic.
Yeah, bye. See you soon.
Bye.